To my morning daily live stream, the Power of Connection channel. Thanks for joining me. And today I'm going to talk about how to do LinkedIn Lives and the good, the bad, the pros and cons, and also get your feedback on this because I've now been doing these live streams for, this is number 43. So I've been doing, number 44. So I've been doing these for over a month and a half. Well, actually over 2 months now because I typically do Mondays to Fridays, 8:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And but a lot of people always ask me, well, how do you do them, and how do you get them set up, and when can I get access? And people are always asking questions about the whole LinkedIn Live stream. So let me dive into that and give you the entire process, including how I set it up and all the things that I'm doing to try to make this thing work for me. So, but before that, if you are joining this live stream, again, comment below. Let me know where you're from. Are you from Africa, Australia? Asia, Europe, North America, South America? Let me know where you're from. And number two, let me know if you have any specific questions around LinkedIn Lives or even live streams in general. What do you think are some of the good pros and cons of live streams? What do you like about them? What you don't like about them? And then finally, what is your feedback around the ones that I've been doing? I'll give you my take on what I think works, what doesn't work, but I'd love to hear your takes on those things. All right, so let's start out from the very beginning. So when I first got access to LinkedIn Live beta access, I decided that it was a great opportunity because for me as a professional speaker, it's very easy for me to articulate and talk about the things and things that I care about, the issues of the day, the professional challenges that people have very easily. So for me, it's a big piece. Hey Shay, good to see you. So that's why I decided to run with it. I used to spend 20 minutes producing one video, or sorry, a 1 minute video. And now I'm spending 20 minutes putting together a content that's actually even more in depth and more engaging with everybody else and back and forth. And already Shay's giving some great insight here. The biggest problem with LinkedIn Live, the lack of native in-app support. I completely agree. That is the number one biggest challenge, because when you go on Facebook and I do a live chat, there's my phone and I see the comments in there, right? And you go on Instagram, same thing. There's a chat and there's a comments and you can see it. I go on Twitter/Periscope. You go in there, there's a chat and there's the comments in there. But on LinkedIn, you have to use a third-party app, and more importantly, or worse, you have to pay for that app. $30, $40, $60, $70 a month. That's a lot just to get access to doing live streams on here. So that to me is a big challenge that needs to be overcome. Now, in LinkedIn's defense, because I love LinkedIn now. In their defense, I think that this is a band-aid solution because I think they wanted to get it out quickly, so they decided to go to the third-party solutions and throw it out there. And now they're beta testing with all of us influencers out there who are sharing the content. And I think they're probably working pretty darn hard on an in-app solution, okay? Because I think that's probably what's going to happen. So I think that's very, very important. Well, I mean, Shay talks about why would anyone in the right mind send their customers out of their own experience to someone else who don't have control over? Well, again, I outsource to people, but I outsource from the people that I trust, right? So I think LinkedIn probably spent a lot of time building the trust with those people. So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I've already tried two. I've tried Switcher and I've tried Social Live, and I'm going to try another one very, very soon. But I think that's a big challenge. But once I got the go ahead with the LinkedIn Live access, the first thing I did was find out who else has it. And then once I knew who it was, then I asked guys, okay, so what are you guys using? What's your feedback on it so far? So people said, well, start with Switcher. So then I did. So then I started with Switcher and Switcher Studio as my friend. And then I was surprised to find out, oh my gosh, this costs money. Holy cow. And then I did a couple of tests. But one of the things that was really amazing was that as soon as I got going, the traction was great. People were really into it. A lot of people joined the conversation. So I thought that was kind of cool. And again, because I love the interactivity, and there's a huge return on relationship when it comes to that live access. Like right now, everyone's sharing great information. Patrick's here, and Sajid Kumar is here, and if anyone else is here, by all means, join and share your comments, your feedback on what you think of the entire LinkedIn Live process, or the LinkedIn live streams. And of course, I also saw a huge potential because I could deliver morning content very easily like this. I could do interviews with people, which I've also been doing with my Wisdom Wednesdays, and I'm doing one. I actually might be doing two tomorrow. Isn't that crazy? One in the morning, one at noon. So hopefully that doesn't bother people too much. which is good. And then what's the other one? And then the third thing I like is that I thought about doing it for my live event, so I could do a portion like 15 minutes of one of my keynotes that I did. So there's lots of different ways in which to use the live stream. So that's what I've been doing. And then I committed to the Monday to Friday every day because I wanted to create some consistency. Now, I have been tampering with different time periods. First, I started at 8:30. Then I tried 5 p.m., 4:30, 5 p.m. Then I tried, I'm thinking about 12, then I looked at 12 noon. And then I talked about, then I tried, now I'm trying 8:45 a.m. And I keep switching it because I'm not sure what the best time is. So that's something I want feedback on. What is the best time? My feeling is to switch to noon Eastern Standard Time. That'll get the people on the West Coast. The only problem is it excludes our good friends in Australia, unless they're up super early or something. But it kind of excludes them. So the morning one gets them. But then of course the West Coast people are excluded. So it's like you gotta choose. The other option I thought about doing is having my Wisdom Wednesdays in the mornings, 8:45 or 8:30, and then having my daily one Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 12 noon, and that way that's there. And people, so that's kind of where I'm netting out that I think I might do. What's your feedback on the best time to do these things? So I see LinkedIn Lives going on all the time, like they pop up my feed. Now the other thing I should tell you is that when LinkedIn Live first started, it also got great traction because it showed up 2 times daily. Eh? Wow, that's bull up. Who's got time for that, man? I gotta do some work. So like for me, I'm keeping them 15-20 minutes for the most part because again, if things go well, the interviews are longer, 30-40 minutes. But for the most part, I try to keep them short and sweet. Although LinkedIn itself recommends at least 15 minutes so people start to see it and get traction. But what I can tell you is that when I first started LinkedIn Lives, it would show up automatically in people's feeds and notifications. So it would say, Bobby is live. And I started losing followers. So every time I do a live stream, I lose followers. And I can tell you over the last 2 months, I have lost over 2,000 followers. And the only explanation I can tell you is that people are just annoyed with the notifications, and some people have commented, why am I getting notified about this thing? And part of the problem is that it would just say Bobby's live with no context, and that was a big problem. And eventually so I was losing like 200, 300 every time I posted, and then finally it changed to Bobby's live, here's the topic, which I put right away. And then I started losing less followers. I still lose followers. I lose about probably every time I do one, I probably maybe 15, 20 followers each time, because people just don't like. And again, the other big challenge too is that it doesn't really show up in your notifications feed when people comment on your lives. And when someone comments or replies to something, it doesn't show up in my notification. I actually have to go into the system to go to my actual live stream and then actually see what's going on there and who's commenting. So that to me is another challenge that they have to kind of figure out, right? And you mean, well, I mean, I don't want to turn off notifications because for the most part, I'm getting great traction with the people who are showing up and being part of this thing. So for me, the people who don't get it or don't understand it or want to unfollow, I'd rather have you unfollow. It's the same thing with unsubscribe. Like if I send an email with fantastic content, which I think I am doing, then for me, if you want to unsubscribe, that's fine, right? And thank you, Shay, for the crazy people. You put out great content. Thanks. I mean, I'm trying to do that. That's part of the discussion in terms of how to do a good LinkedIn Live. So I was losing followers. So I realized the heading is very important to make sure it's clear what you're going to talk about. Although right now, again, with the feedback, it shows the entire thing in a jumble paragraph as opposed to the staggered, the spacing, which I think is really important. So I think that would be nice. Well, I mean, you talk about on-the-fly closed captioning. Tell me anyone that does that. I mean, closed captioning and subtitles is extremely difficult. Like you'd have to have a person doing that. None of the other platforms offer live on-the-fly closed captioning. Like that's extremely difficult for the most part. So I think for me, like you that's way beyond what any of the platforms are doing. Live stream is just, it's there, it's live. The people are commenting, and that's kind of what they're doing. The only time you see live closed captioning is if you're watching like some sort of speech that actually probably United Nations, where you're like, well, great, you should let LinkedIn know, but I think even Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram don't do that. So, I know subtitles are important for just general videos, but I think that's really good. Well, good. I mean, again, the PowerPoint's been around for a while, but I think they need to figure that stuff out for sure. So I started using Switcher Studio, which was good. The only thing was the main I liked it. The only thing I didn't like about it was that I had to I couldn't do videos. I can only do video interviews live with a person beside me. I couldn't do remote stuff. Now I'm on Social Live, and this one allows me to do remote ones. I tried once last week. It failed magnificently. I'm gonna try another one again tomorrow, see if it works. But I just got to get my head around the tech and make sure it works properly. But again, the other challenge with Social Live is it's more expensive. And the other big benefit of Social Live is that you can broadcast across many platforms. Now, there's pros and cons there too. So right now, this broadcast is not only going to LinkedIn, my personal profile, it's also going to my Facebook business page, my Facebook DYP page, my Facebook Cool Connections page, and it's going to Twitter, Periscope. So all at the same time, this is all happening. So that's kind of good too. But again, the question then becomes, do you really want to make it a huge broadcast, or do you want to make it more exclusive so that people will join you? Because what I can tell you is that now that I'm doing the LinkedIn Lives for a while, the traction I'm getting is lower, right? So it's getting less and less. So when I first started, there was like 50, 60, 80, 100, 120 for some of my interviews. Now I'm getting a lot more, I'm getting a lot less people, which is fine. There's a comment here by Andy. This does not look professional. Well, again, depends what you want to talk about when it comes to professionalism. Nowadays, if you understand how social media works, people like accessibility. People also like casual conversation, as long as they are providing value and delivering on that promise. So for me, yes, I'm in a t-shirt, I'm casual, but at the same time, I'm delivering incredible professional value when I talk about networking, public speaking, entrepreneurship, leadership, soft skills, your career development. That's the stuff that I focus on. Again, those who want someone in a suit and only want to listen to something like that, they can go look at some real estate videos, and then they're welcome to do that. But for me, I'm adding my professionalism by talking about issues that people care about, including how to do LinkedIn Lives, because people are asking me, Bobby, how do I do LinkedIn Live? So I'm telling you right now in this entire video, my entire process, okay? So now we're talking about Social Live. Social Live. Now, Social Live is also very good. Social Live is also very good in terms of the technology, things like that, which is great. But again, I've told both of them, give me a free app. Now, there's one called Restream, but again, it doesn't have the remote access, it doesn't have the broad base. So, there is value in this one. If I want to build a broadcast across many platforms and have the options to do a Facebook Live or a Twitter Live, or whatever, or go to YouTube, these are all things that I think are good options with Social Live. So I think that's a really, really good thing. And it has given me the opportunity to actually, invite guests from other places that are not in Toronto. So I think that's really awesome when it comes to that platform. Now, the other question, of course, is how do you do a good LinkedIn Live? So that's the technology piece. Now, it's being rolled out. More and more people are getting LinkedIn Live. Not everybody, though. And that's a big question, too. Should everyone get access to LinkedIn Live? That's always a big question, because some people will throw in junk, and some people, will throw in value content. I think everyone should get access to it, because if they do a bad job, they won't get followers, and they'll probably stop. If they do a good job, they'll get followers, and then people will follow that post, and that should be fine. I'm not sure when they're going to launch it live, but I have been asking LinkedIn about that, and you should too. But more and more people are definitely getting access to it, and I'm seeing it more frequently on my profile. And that's another reason why I want to create this Power Connection channel too. And if you like what you're hearing, again, like, comment, clap, heart, light bulb, share this on people's pages, tag people, bring them part of the conversation. Let's talk more about this and kind of how it works. So I want to get people understanding how LinkedIn Live works and what the entire process is. Okay, and again, and the other thing is, if you want more support from me and you want some more support with LinkedIn Live, you want some more support with personal branding or how to deliver storytelling content and how to be a public speaker, DM me anytime, check out my links, and I'm happy to help you out through some of my programs and my coaching work. So going again, keep going. How to put together a great program. So I've actually seen some LinkedIn Lives that are not that great. And why are they not that great? Number one, they don't have a structure, so it's not really structured. It's very casual. Now, obviously, if you're live casting some sort of event, right? You're watching it and you're just waiting. That's a little bit different. I get that. So I think that's different. But it's randomness, like random meanderings, and you want to make sure that it's focused on the topic at hand and some structure behind it. Number two, is it too short or too long? I mean, videos on LinkedIn are up to 10 minutes. So if you're going to do LinkedIn live stream, I think they need to be longer than 10 minutes. So 15 minutes or longer is more ideal in terms of creating the value and creating the engagement with the people that you want. So for me, I started out by doing 15, 20 minutes of content, telling a couple stories and lessons, and then talking to people, and then I would take questions. And I'm happy to take questions here too. But that's typically what I do. Now what I'm doing is at 8:45 a.m. I'm doing about 10 minutes of content, although this one's an exception. It's going a little bit longer. And there's a lot of comments, and I'm also going to take your questions. But for the most part, I usually do 15 to 20 minutes. That's usually my typical live stream. Now, how do you make it? So some of them are not really good. Some of them are not on brand. They're like, this person is, focused on real estate, but then they come out and they start talking about, nature. And it's like, okay, well, how do you relate back to your brand? Right, so I talk about the power of connection. Anything to do with professional connection in your life, so that whether it comes to networking or whether it comes to public speaking or personal branding, that's what I talk about in terms of helping your career development and your leadership. So that's really what I'm all about, and that's kind of where I'm staying true. So again, if you're just joining me, we're talking about, I've gone through the entire process of how I put together these LinkedIn live streams. I'm asking for feedback on what times work well, what structures, things like that. I'm focused on daily Monday to Friday, 15 to 20 minutes. I'm thinking I'm probably going to transition to 12 noon each day, and except for my Wisdom Wednesdays on Wednesdays, where I'm going to do 8:45 or 8:30 a.m. And that's kind of my plan for that. Now, let me kind of scroll through some of your comments because there's a whole bunch of them, man. Holy cow, man. You guys are like... So what is the structure set for my session? So my sessions are structured very simply. 10 minutes of content, usually a story or two, and then I do Q&A. That's the typical way. This one was longer for the most part, but that's kind of what I've set it up for. So it ends up being 15 to 20 minutes of content and engagement. The other thing I should add that in terms of best practice, some people are doing like intro videos, or they have like a screen at the top to start their LinkedIn lives. I haven't done that again. I'm not really a techie, so I haven't been able to explore that, but it's something I probably should get into and figure that stuff out. As you go along, you learn. When I started doing videos, I never had subtitles, but now I have subtitles. I never used the stickers on LinkedIn. Now I do. So you can learn and grow. For me, it's been incremental. I've incrementally been learning and growing. Kind of like I've been doing a 30-day keto challenge, and incrementally I've been learning more and more how to be better at keto. So same. Well, I'm glad you like the fact that it's not overproduced. For me, it's easy for me to provide this value and answer any question you guys have about LinkedIn Lives, answer any question you have about career development and stuff that I talk about. So that's great. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Great insights. Thanks, Patrick. Biggest problem with LinkedIn Live, lack of native in-app support. Yes, we talked about that. There was some problems with the buffers, yes, and the timing. So at the end of the program, I will stay on for 20 seconds because it often gets cut off the video. Or the buffer is way too long when it comes to doing this. So these are things that need to be improved for sure. Forcing a third-party app is one of the biggest challenges, I think, for LinkedIn, but they're going to try to work on that. I think it's a Band-Aid solution. I think they're going to come up with an in-app solution for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, if you want to do a free one, there's Restream. It's free but for the basic, but you can't bring in guests who are remote. Most of the paid services, so like Socialize, Switcher Studio, Wirecast, you have to pay at least $30 US per month, if not more. Sometimes $70 just for an individual thing, which is big challenging. One person says a 30-minute segments 2 times a day. That's a lot. As much as I'm a content producer and I'm a speaker, I also have to do some work. So for me, once a day is enough. I was thinking about going down to a couple times a week, but once a day, Monday to Friday, is kind of fine for me. I plan to how do I hit the 2 different time zones? So the challenge is 2 big time zones for me is the West Coast and Australia. Now I'm on the East Coast, so how do I hit them both? Well, the only way to do it really is if I do all my days except for Wednesday at 12 noon, I will be able to hit the West Coast. If I do my Wisdom Wednesdays in the mornings at 8:45 a.m., then I'll be able to hit Australia. And so those 2 parties will then learn that they can check out my replays after or later whenever I do them. So I think that's kind of my plan. Other questions here. Adrian, Montreal here. I watch you as I follow up on my emails in the morning, which is my me time at our HR tech startup. That's nice. Thanks, man. I really appreciate you guys joining me. Again, if you want more people to join us, tag them, share us on your page, tag other people. Let's get more people to say, hey, join the Power Connection channel. And the other thing I love about these LinkedIn live streams is people are also talking to each other in the comments and connecting and engaging with each other. And hooking up. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. They're connecting on LinkedIn, and I think that's great. So I think you should all be doing that as well. So you should be commenting with each other and talking to people in the comments. I'm not sure you can turn off the losing followers thing. That's difficult. Yeah, live on the fly is something that will be very difficult to do. Let's see here. I'd love to learn more about the PowerPoint piece. That'd be kind of interesting to check out. I've never tried that before. Let's see. The best part about is watching a live broadcast in silence and still enjoying it. So how does that work? So wait, what does that mean? You mean you watch me and it's enjoyable even though you can't hear me? Okay, that's interesting. We talked about the professional thing. Heard that Microsoft Teams offer real-time translation written content. That'd be interesting to see if that happens. Here's an interesting one. It says you have one person watching, but then again, there are more people here. Is that counter correct? Yeah, so I mean, the count, I'm not sure what your counter says. My counter right now says 34 people, right? So it's going to vary for each person. I'm not sure how that works. And again, I think there's a lot of bugs there when it comes to that, so they're going to have to figure that out. Thank you, Cindy, for saying it looks authentic. If you have any other questions about LinkedIn Lives and live streams and how to make them well and how to do the setup and whatever. So the other thing I should say, my basic setup is I have my phone on a tripod. I have my computer over here. So that's the other huge problem. I have to use two machines. I have to use the computer to see comments, and I use the video to talk to you and engage you. So sometimes I'm looking over here, sometimes I'm looking over there. And that to me is also a bit of a challenge. I'd love to be able to see the comments as it flows along. The first time I did like one of those, Meerkat or Periscope, it was really cool to see all the stuff on the side. I think that's really helpful. So that's another big challenge. People are commenting on my authenticity. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mohammed says, like your live session. Thanks. Okay. Gamification. That's another whole thing. You're right. Most social media features are rolled out, and that's fine because they want to test it out. Then LinkedIn already called me last week. We had a conversation. I gave them all my feedback and all my complaints and all the things I thought were really bad or good. And so for the fact, I think I did that really well. Let's get you set up with a countdown timer. We can get you hooked up. Oh, a countdown timer. Right. I've seen those, Daniel. The countdown timer. So, sure, man. If you want to DM me and let's just spend 10 minutes to figure that stuff out, I'd love to learn how to do that because I don't know how to do it. So, a walkthrough would be great. Appreciate that. The biggest problem with most live stream with people who want to do video or do live stream is that they wait until they're perfect, and you can't wait till they're perfect. Just look, have a plan of what you want to talk about, which I did, and then deliver the value. Continue to engage the people over there, and then that's how I'm providing value. And you stick around as long as people are interested. Which right now we're at 48 people, so people are interested in this stream. And if you're just joining now, again, we're talking about how to do good LinkedIn Live. I'd love to get your feedback. I've been doing this for 2 months now. I've shared the entire process of what I've done through the apps, the technology, the setup, and all that kind of stuff, and the feedback I have. And you can share your thoughts below. Let me know where you're from and tag people. Okay? So and you can like, heart, whatever, and I appreciate all that. I'm really grateful for all the people that are joining me today. You've applied. Yeah, you can apply for LinkedIn Live too. So if you go to LinkedIn, the help comments, you can find out where to apply for LinkedIn Live. Again, what they're looking for is a plan. When I didn't apply. I was just told. I just said, here's what I want to talk about. And I told 8 people from LinkedIn, and eventually I got it. So, but that's fine. Social Life has been very helpful in helping me out. But again, I think the biggest challenge there, to be honest, they're gonna have to provide tremendous value in order for me to want to pay for their service, because in my mind it is very expensive, and because I'm only focused on LinkedIn Live and not Facebook Live and Twitter Live and YouTube Live and all that kind of stuff, I'm not sure I can afford that. So for me, I think that to me is a big challenge for them. Let's see here. Any other comments? All right, but it looks like Daniel's going to help us out and collaborate on that thing. That's great. Appreciate that. Let's see more of the stuff here. What else we got here? What a curse. The live bugged and had to refresh. You react to my comment. Oh, I'll catch you later. Sorry, Adrian. You'll be able to see you'll be able to see the entire feed afterwards. Okay. And if you don't qualify for LinkedIn Live, you can apply again. It's the same thing for, I applied, for example, LinkedIn Learning to teach a course, but then if I get rejected, I'll apply again. I got to make sure, my application is really, really good. That's awesome. Okay, some really good stuff here. All right, thanks so much for sharing these links. Okay, good. So, any other feedback? And so it looks like Sajid Umar has shared the link in the comments on how to apply for LinkedIn Live, which is great. If anyone has any other comments or feedback on what makes a good LinkedIn Live, what their feedback was on the process so far, I'm personally loving it. I love the interaction. I love being able to access you. I love you could access me. I love the questions and engagement. I love the fact people are connecting in the comments. I love that people are sharing. I think that's really great. And again, if you want to learn more about what I'm doing and the content I'm sharing, I also share content on my company page. I share content on my Patreon page, which is also in the notes. In the actual post itself, there's a link there. You can also DM me if you want more support for personal branding, speaking, and the things you're trying to do to build your brand. So that's kind of what I do. And again, if you have questions about LinkedIn Lives, if you have questions about personal branding, networking, leadership, professional speaking, TEDx talks, that's kind of the stuff I talk about. You can comment below. I pretty much engage every single comment that shows up, and that'll be great. So here's a question. You may want to consider a Rode video mic. I'm not sure if you use it or not, but worth $100 or so investment. Well, how is the sound? I mean, the sound is certainly nice. I did the first LinkedIn Lives actually with the microphone and with the headset, and whatever, and people like that. For the most part, it hasn't been that big a deal, and no one has really complained that much. But I'm happy to take that on and see if I could try it. I actually have a mic that I haven't been using, but I think using mics, the more you can do. I mean, again, part of it, again, I'm trying to keep it easy for me, right? It's easy for me to just plug and play. Here's my topic today. Start it up, set up the tripod, and boom, we go, right? And for me, it's way easier for me to do that. The more complicated it is, the less likely I'm going to be able to do it every day. The less likely I'm going to be able to, for me, what I really want is I want to get started and give you the content and share with you all the nuggets that I have in this video and all the other ones. So if you're watching this video and you want to see all the other ones I've done, just go to my profile page and check out posts, and you'll see all the ones I've done for the last 2 months. Because after 2 months, they disappear, right? So you want to make sure you capture them all so you actually can see where they all are. And is there a tin sound? If there is, that's fine. I'm happy to try on a mic. A mic is not that bad. I just plug it here and boom, put on my shirt or whatever, and then as you get started, that's totally fine. And yeah, I'm happy to talk more about it. Thanks so much. Yes, and Sajid Gomar says video is fine, audio is fine. Issues with the video that has to be without buffering. I mean, yeah. So I think the video is a challenge because it does buffer for a lot of people. In the beginning, it was really bad. Now it's mostly good. It doesn't buffer as much, I think, but it's still something that needs to be taken care of and fixed. So that's something that if you want to put together a really strong LinkedIn Live, you need to make sure that that's really good. Now, the other thing I'll say in terms of how to do a good LinkedIn Live is I think you should try to bring in people. As much as people, I love to see my mug, and I give like 15, 20 minutes per day. I think bringing people in to add value to beyond your content. So, for example, I want to bring in an HR expert tomorrow. I want to bring in a breakup coach tomorrow. These are things I want to do to add to expand the content of what I'm doing. So that's where the once a week I'm actually bringing in new people. So if you know someone that wants to be interviewed, should be interviewed, would be an amazing thought leader, has a lot of influence, is well known in their field, is an expert, tag them below. Let me know because I'd like to add them to my calendar if I think they're a good fit. Yes, Dave, I'm glad you're here, Dave, because I may want to move us to Thursday, just saying, because I have 2 tomorrow, and I may want to spread them out Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Friday, so we'll talk. But yeah, Dave Bazak was one of the guys I'm going to be doing a live stream with, and that's kind of where I'm setting up. So when you interview somebody, how do you make it also really, really good content? Well, again, structure. Structure is so important. Structure is your best friend. Have clear questions set up. Make sure it's clear what the topic is, what their expertise is. Make sure people know who they are, and then give them a chance. And the other big thing too is let them speak, right? So you may be the host with the most, but if you speak too much, then you're toast. There, I just rhymed for you. You need to let them speak and be most of the content. You can certainly throw in your 2 cents and whatever, and make it more back and forth, whatever. But you need to actually let them speak and share their content. I mean, they're taking their time out of their day to be there with you, whether it's live or remotely. And you want to make sure you leverage that as much as possible. So what I'll do is we'll plan 5 questions. They'll send me a bio of 30 to 50 words. I'll tag them in my post. I'll ask them to share a link, and I'll offer them a chance to promote themselves at the end of my broadcast. And I think people really like that. They're very appreciative of the ability to broadcast. I think that's really good. Thanks, Marcelo. I need to learn more about LinkedIn Live. Keep it going. Well, again, once you have access, it's an amazing tool for doing broadcasts like this to share content, for doing sharing your keynote. So when I do a keynote, like actually in a couple weeks I'm going to Africa, I'm going to see if I can set up my tripod and actually broadcast part of my keynote or part of my talks. That would be kind of fun, right? So that's something I want to try to do. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And yeah, I think this has been a longer broadcast. Normally I do 10, 15, 20 minutes. This has been 30 minutes. So hopefully you're getting some great value from this. And again, if you like what I'm seeing, I'm here every Monday to Friday. I'm actually going to be changing the time. So Monday to Friday, 12 noon, except on Wednesdays, which is going to be at 8:45 a.m. for my Wisdom Wednesdays interviews. And you can also tag people. You can like my stuff. You can share this on your own page. And if you join me tomorrow. I'll be here again tomorrow to share the exact same content. Actually, tomorrow, shoot, I can't even do tomorrow. I'm going to start the 12 noon thing next week. Tomorrow I'm doing hot yoga with my wife. So tomorrow, I'm doing a LinkedIn Live with Dave. So my schedule is a little bit hairy this week, but I'm going to try to stick to the same schedule in the following weeks and keep it going. All right. So if you like what you're hearing, check out my company page, check out my work. DM me if you want more support on your brands or on your speaking profile and things like that. That's the stuff I love to do and work on. All right. Looks like there's no more questions. It's been a great broadcast. There's 60 people here, so I hate to leave. But if no one has any last minute questions, I'm going to have to go. But we did a really good process of the LinkedIn Live thing. And if there's anything I missed or I didn't talk about, I think I covered it all. We talked about the setup, the structure, the technology. We talked about how to create good content. We talked about the feedback on what's working, what's not working. That's great. All right, thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day. And again, as part of feedback, I'm going to leave this video recording for 20 seconds so it doesn't get cut off at the end. All right, thanks so much. Take care.